Good morning. We had discussed quite a lot about dental pulp in the first lecture one. So we had reached to a state where we were discussing the uh, histological structures, that is various parts, and then we were discussing the cells. And when we were talking about cellular elements, we were talking about formative cells, progenitor cells, and defensive cells. Sorry, uh, formative cells, that is odontoblast, fibroblast, progenitor cells, undifferentiated mesenchymal cells. Then there were defensive cells, being macrophages, neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, mast cells, plasma cells, and lymphocytes. Many of them you know about. You have plus, plus two, plus whatever you have cleared, have come here. You have already read about them. You need to know about them. Then, apart from cellular elements, there were fibrillar elements, that are collagen and fine collagen bundles and fine collagen fibers. Then you have, so first there were cellular elements, then there were fibrillar element, then there is ground substance. Now this ground substance acts as a medium for transport of nutrients to cells, metabolites of the cells to the blood vessels. Then there were neurovascular elements. You have to keep in mind, these include blood vessels, nerves, and lymph vessels. So you have read about the theories of pain transmission. You know about what kind of nerve and elements are there. You know about how the odontoblast look like, what is the diameter, length. Then you should know how does it look like in development, what appears pyriform, then when are they cuboidal, when are they flattened. These odontoblasts are very critical. You should know about them, read about them, know their diagrams. Crossing that, introducing you to the cellular elements. Now is the time, very shortly, that we should concisely understand what are the functions of pulp. So if I take you to the functions of pulp, then this is where we had reached. We had discussed the nerve supply. We had discussed what kind of fibers are there. We had discussed, we had reached the functions of pulp. Functions of pulp, very rightly enumerated on your slide, are inductive, formative, nutritive, protective, defensive. Now, to throw some light on it, just you can read about it from book, but I will just introduce you. I will take you to the book by telling you few sentences about each of them. Inductive, the dental papilla induces enamel organ formation and also determines the morphology of tooth. So this is the inductive function of pulp. Two points should come in your answer. You can write essays, but if these 2 points do not come, there is trouble then. Formative, pulp organ produces dentine. Odontoblasts develop the organic matrix and function in its calcification. So these 2 points should come. Odontoblast develop the organic matrix and function in its calcification. Pulp organ produces dentine. So this will be formative function. Nutritive, the extensive pulp vasculature ensures an excellent nourishment to the odontoblast for continuously forming secondary dentine. This is provided through the capillaries found in the odontogenic zone. So this is the nutritive function. The presentation will be given to you. The video will be given to you. Don't worry about it. You can listen to it slowly and understand. So we have already finished inductive, formative, nutritive. So we have protective now. Any environmental irritating stimuli always elicit pain as a response. So this is one of the protective function, that you are aware about some kind of abuse, some kind of alteration, some kind of change, pulp is vital in it, is pivotal in it. So that was protective. Then is defensive. And I think there should be one more, that is reparative also. So talking about defensive, it is pulp inflammation represents other aspect of its response to irritation. In this condition, the defensive cells of the pulp will be increased and activated to repair and heal the inflamed pulp, and phagocytosis, the invading bacteria and their toxins. So this is the defensive function. You can write in your own words. I have written short note. That's where I'm reading from. Very capsular. Don't give such concise answers. This is just for making you understand. Elaborate it, keep book next to it. So what will be their defensive function is that there is lots of it destroys also, and it defenses also during the defensive function. So it can phagocytosis also, and it can recruit the inflammatory cells also. So talking about defensive, now I had told you that there is something called as reparative also. Through the formation of highly mineralized reparative dentine at the site of the injury to seal off the pulp from the source of irritation, this is the reparative function. Also, pulp may mineralize the affected dentine tubules by forming sclerotic dentine. So reparative sclerotic dentine, though you can say that it's a defensive function of pulp. Why are we talking about here? But this is very, very important that you should know that pulp too is playing a very vital role here. It's a dentino-pulpal complex which is playing a role here. So you should know about these. As we move, I hope when you rewind and see, you will understand that lot of times these questions have been asked. Enumerate the cells of pulp or enumerate the zones of pulp and write in detail about its function. Function, elaborately you will read, and you will keep these commandments, these tips which I have given you. Talking about regressive changes, I will talk extempo for 2 minutes and then we will declare our lecture to be over. So, age changes in pulp: the size of the pulp, the apical foramen, the cellular elements, and the blood vessels and the vitality. The blood vessels and nerves vitality is decreased. So this is, as the age increases, the size of the pulp, the apical foramen, the cellular elements, the blood vessels, and the nerve vitality decreases. There is a lot of reticular atrophy also taking place. So the lessened vitality of the pulp tissue leads to lessened response of the stimuli. So retrogressive age changes, retrogressive and age changes in cells can be cellular changes, fibrosis, neurovascular changes, reduction in pulp size, dystrophic calcification, and pulp denticles. I had introduced you to pulp stones. By yesterday night, I had seen 11 people still not submitted their rough diagrams. Anyways, we will start the fair diagrams from today. Pulp calcification, I had already told you they are localized and diffused. If they are localized, that are pulp stones, they are true denticles and false denticles. That's how the classification is there. Talking about cellular changes, that those are various kind of changes which happen during the time of teeth development. Lots of you read about it, that how the pulp of the teeth are so highly cellular and extensively vascular, and these show such a high mitotic rate that actively synthesizing cells have to be appreciated in the pulp. So true denticles, false denticles, diffuse calcification, where it happens, age favors, how does it happen? much of it can be read specifically. If pulp stone is asked, you should write about it. You should write about what exactly is being asked, and you should know about what are pulp calcifications, and what is the difference between a true and a false, and is vitamin D involved somewhere. I'm just giving you tips what all to search for when you are reading. I'm just taking you to the book. So with this, I assume that you will be writing good in pulp if it is asked. So the questions, if they are asked in pulp, you will be writing good, because I've told you important questions also. I have discussed, and I've taken you to the book. Don't consider my lecture to be, ultimate. It has got lot of flaws, lot of gaps, not flaws. So you have to read through the book. I'm just taking you to the book. Thank you very much for today.